Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. I had a question the other day, which was, what are your top tips for a Kundalini awakening? I've just had one. What I had said to them was, I have like over 500 videos over there on my YouTube with an assortment of playlists set up for you so that you can find everything maybe you're looking for in relationship to the body, to emotions, to twin flame journey, to spiritual awakenings, I have lots of playlists. And within those playlists, there's lots of videos. Each video, I try to offer a tip of some kind to no matter what issue that I'm dealing with. But it got me thinking that, not everybody wants to dig through all of the playlists and try to find this little bite-sized piece of information and this little bit of bite-sized information embedded with each of the videos. So today's video may not be for everybody. This is for the people that want it all wrapped up into one. So today's video is going to be a little bit longer, and that's okay. It's not, as I said, maybe not for everybody who likes little shorter bite-sized pieces of information, but today's video is a comprehensive look at my top tips for surviving a Kundalini awakening. So when I sat down and started making this list, it quickly grew and grew and grew. So this isn't my top 10. Nope. This is my top 88 lists of things that you need to know to survive a Kundalini awakening. So numero uno is save yourself. Traditionally, spiritual awakenings would be in a community where they were familiar with spiritual awakenings. In shamanistic times, they were well aware, and some master would help the student come into alignment with their own spiritual mastery to become a shaman. Or, you can look at cultures where you would have gone to the local ashram and had a guru, or you would have joined a monastery and you would have had tutelage from a Buddhist monk or somebody that has already been through this. But we're in the processes of having a mass spiritual awakening across the globe, and not everybody has access to a guru down the street. And so the sooner that we can realize this is an internal journey, this is a personal journey, I am in charge of this journey is about me. This is the you movement, which means you are your guru. You are the one that is going to be guiding yourself through this profound and intense change. So the quicker you get into an alignment of a knowing that you're in charge of your awakening, and you're not looking and seeking outside help for something, the sooner you will be able to process through it, because this is bringing you back to your power, to your soul's essence. Your soul is your guru. So sitting in silence and listening to yourself is going to be a lot better for you than listening even to people like me. I am here as a guide, not as a guru. Number 2, which is my mission that I have set up as my tagline for my entire channel, is learn to love the fuck out of yourself. This process back to becoming ensouled is a process to return back to divine love. And divine love starts with you. Yes, a lot of us have grown up our whole lives hearing, you gotta learn to love yourself. And what does that even mean? What that means is every time you are seeking something outside of yourself, you need to learn to give it to yourself. If you are wishing other people would show you compassion, be compassionate to yourself. If you were wishing other people would show up and show you affection, be affectionate to yourself. If you are wishing anything, validation, soothing, you name it, give it to yourself. as Gandhi taught us, who is all of our gurus, is you need to be the change you want to see in the world. So if there's something that you wish was happening, give it to yourself. In learning to give it to ourselves, we learn to love the fuck out of ourselves, because we have been seeking from outside of ourselves our entire lives to individuals outside of ourselves that don't love themselves. The legacy of trauma has been passed on and passed on and passed on, that our definitions of love are very conditional. And the process of going through an extreme Kundalini awakening is to bring you back into divine love, to understand that you are love. You are lovable. You are loving. You are love. So as we learn to love the fuck out of ourselves, we are learning to encapsulate everything that Jesus was trying to teach us about love. So, yes, we are the love. You are the love. And so giving yourself anything that you are seeking from outside to yourself as the source, it's a constant U-turn. Back to self, back to self, back to self. Number 3 is align your posture. Now, a lot of people, and I'll just do a side note, my list is not in any particular order, okay? It is simply as things flowed in from my mind onto the list. And so some of these things, other than the top 2, which I wanted to have as top 2s, the rest of these kind of go in no particular order, and they're not organized in any particular way. So it is what it is. And number 3, align your posture. I have done a lot of videos on aligned walking. Please check out the body playlist. But to give you just a recap of why that is so important is Kundalini travels up your spine. And so your spine needs to be in perfect alignment. The spine is the highway to the divine. As the energy flows up your spine, it is clearing out and pushing out everything that is no longer in alignment with you. So if there's physical blockages preventing that flow, you're going to have a lot worse symptoms and difficulties through this process. So the sooner that you get your body into correct posture, and what is correct posture? Mountain pose. I'm sure there's many videos that can outline mountain pose to you, but mountain pose basically is you want your feet forward, planted underneath your hips, your knees forward, creating a flexibility, your hips not tilted back or tilted forward. It's like a bucket that holds water, and that water is your sacral chakra. So you want your hips into alignment and parallel to the ground, not tipping one way or another. You want your abdominal muscles engaged. So get rid of the Spanx or any other things that you're using to assist you in holding everything in place, and start using the muscles that are required to hold your organs in place so your organs can function as they are meant to. If your belly is hanging over, yes, lived through that, and all of your gut is like hanging over and hanging out, it's pulling your whole entire body out of alignment. And so we need to use and engage those abdominal muscles by zipping them all up. Visualize a zipper zipping all of those muscles up to put all those organs back where they need to be. Your chest should be up, not crushed in. If you have a lot of low self-esteem issues, your solar plexus, which is right in the very center there, may be collapsed in upon itself like a little potato bug, because, you know, you've been bullied and put down and all kinds of things, and you're shrunken in upon yourself. And we need to get that energy flowing back into the solar plexus so that we can become empowered again. The heart chakra needs to be up and open. We should be leading from our heart as if there's a string that's pulling you from your chest. And no, it might feel when you go into that position like all of a sudden you're in this false sense of pride. That's how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be chest forward, chest, heart-centric, heart leading. So those shoulders should be up and back, rolled in, the shoulder blades tucked in. Like if you picture it like wings tucked in at that bra line, or for men that don't have a bra, you know where a bra line is get those shoulder blades in. And get your head up and eyes forward, which is very difficult if you're neurodivergent like me, because we're used to not looking at people's eyes. I went through my life looking down at the ground, and so no, it becomes a mindfulness practice to get back in your body, because the body is the vehicle. You may think, but this is a spiritual awakening. Shouldn't I be doing spiritual things? Yes, but you're not going to get anywhere if you leave your body behind. Your body is how we transform ourselves into a new level of consciousness. This is treat your body like a vehicle, treat your body like a Ferrari in top condition, and get yourself into perfect physical alignment. Number 4 is, while you're in perfect physical alignment, is pilgrimage. Every spiritual background across the globe has always had pilgrimage as a part of its process. In ancient times, the Egyptians would walk along the River Nile, stopping along the way at different places of worship. And as they were coming into initiation of their highest and greatest self, to step into the priestess energy. The Catholics also have pilgrimages around the world. I've done some of those pilgrimages myself. The Native Americans went on their spirit quests. The Aborigines went on their walkabouts. Pilgrimage is a part of the process. So get yourself into physical alignment and get out walking, aka aligned walking. There is an aligned walking playlist. If not, there's a body playlist, and the aligned walking is in that body. The more you get yourself out walking, you are getting yourself not only in alignment, but you are practicing mindful meditation through the process of movement. This is the movement. What begins to happen is the energy, you are helping assist the energy move and clear out all of the things that are no longer resonating at a frequency. All the denser energies need to be pushed out and cleared out. And the best way to do that is through movement. So pilgrimage. Go on a pilgrimage. Go on a pilgrimage around your neighborhood every single day. Start with 10 minutes if you're not used to walking, and work your way up. Start with 1 kilometer and work your way up. It's not how fast you go. It's not how far you go. It's that you go. That's all that you need to do to be on a pilgrimage. You don't need to go anywhere in particular. You don't need to go to sacred locations, but if there's one nearby, hey, why not add that in? I had the great privilege of climbing Crowpatrick when I lived in Ireland, and when I was there, I also went over and went to Fatima. That was a little less of a pilgrimage, but more to a sacred site. But you don't need to go to sacred sites. You can go to the earth sacred sites, being by the water, through the forest, which brings me to number 5 on my list. Number 5 is get in nature. Get in nature as often as you can. Daily is preferable. If you can't get into nice forests, mountains, oceans, go to your local park. Sit by a tree, even if your local park is just very small. Just connecting in with nature is going to be hugely beneficial for you for multiple reasons. 1, because as your entire world collapses around you, seeing the consistency of nature is going to help reassure you in this process that there is cycles and that there is processes. And look, now we're in fall and the trees are falling, and then there will be winter, and then there will be summer, and everything goes, and it's okay, and I'm okay, and I am part of this system. I am part of this greater and bigger thing that is way bigger than my living room and way bigger than my job. I am connected to the earth. I am one with the earth. And I am grounded in that energy. So, which brings me to number 6 is ground. You have energy flowing through you, and the Kundalini is kind of like being electrocuted a little bit. And so even like your house needs grounding wires to help ground all of that energy as it's flowing through you. And you've seen me. I have energy sometimes when it's in an extreme. I've got huge kriyas, they are called. So kriyas are automatic, involuntary body movements. You may find yourself going into like actual physical posture, yogic postures. Some people go into extreme yogic postures and are kind of frozen in it because the Kundalini needs you to be in that posture so that it can help flow through and clear out some energy. So as all this energy is flowing through you, the more you can ground on a daily basis, and there's multiple ways for grounding. I have a grounding playlist. Ground by lying in grass, ground by getting your bare feet on the grass, ground by sitting by trees, ground by getting some grounding sheets. If you live in a cityscape and you don't have access to a park, you can invest in grounding sheets that connect to the ground wire of your house, or grounding mats. Ground by using certain grounding crystals. Ground. You will want to ground the energy. Otherwise, you might feel like I do often, which is like a tower of electricity flowing, going, wah! So the more we can ground that energy, and even the other night we had on my U-Talk talking to Sasha Fierce, who was talking about using the process of visualization in meditation to help ground. You visualizing roots growing from the bottom of your feet down into the ground, wrapping around the core of the earth and holding you on it, because there are multiple times along your spiritual awakening where you might feel like you're just going to fly off into outer space and like, ah! So ground, and then ground some more. Number 7, I'm going to start my quits, because I have a lot of quits on this list too. And this is quit fluoride. If you haven't already, you want to quit fluoride. So fluoride-free toothpaste, fluoride-free any mouth care. Fluoride calcifies your pineal gland, which is going to keep your third eye non-functional. It's going to keep you disconnected. Your intuition, your connection to source, your hearing from guides, all is dependent on a healthy pineal gland. And so that pineal gland, when you look at it from a side perspective, if you've ever studied this, it looks like the eye of Ra. So these teachings, these Egyptian teachings, have been teaching us about our pineal gland for thousands of years, and saying, this is the source to divine inspiration. And so we need to have that pineal gland functioning. If you have been using fluoride for an extended period of time, there is lots of ways to get, first of all, fluoride-free filters for your water. If you're drinking city water, make sure that you get yourself a fluoride-free, and make sure it's fluoride-free, because not all filtration systems are going to clear that. So first we want to make sure that we're not putting more into the system, and then we need to detoxify the system. And there's lots of ways to do that. The cheapest ways to do that is parsley and cilantro. Cilantro is your new's best friend. I know not everybody likes the taste of cilantro, so you can get cilantro in capsules. You can also get, ways to decalcify your system, like herbal concoctions out there. But really, a lot of plants is what's going to help assist you. So I used a lot of cilantro. I was buying it in bulk for a period of time to help assist me. So fluoride free, and I'm not going to go into the background or the history of fluoride. If you want to do that, that's a rabbit hole that is not going to make you happy. Number 8 is we get into my second quit, which is quit alcohol. Alcohol quit me. And I listened to my body when it quit me, because it got to a place where my body simply wouldn't tolerate it anymore. Anytime I drank, I would get hungover by about sip 3, and my body started reacting. And thank God I listened to my body, because when we override our body's information that's coming in about anything, we are not trusting our own intuitive hits that come in not only from our third eye, but throughout our body. And our body is trying to communicate. Now, alcohol is going to keep you open to things you don't want to be open to, negative energies, and there's a reason why it's called spirits, or even jinn. Did you know jinn is named from the traditional jinn, as in like the jinn? Which are like genies. You don't want to open the doorway to negative energies and entities, and then, wonder why you have moths in your house. So alcohol is a dense, lower vibrational frequency, and the Kundalini is trying to raise your vibrational frequency. You can't be in 2 frequencies at the same time. You can't be, doing the old things and expecting new things. It doesn't work. It's like keeping your sailboat tied to the dock and wondering why you're not getting anywhere. So as we're releasing and clearing out lower vibrational frequencies, quitting alcohol is going to greatly assist you on your spiritual awakening. And it's not from a perspective of, oh, that's naughty, you shouldn't do that. Nothing I am saying is from a perspective of judgment. It's coming from a perspective, I've been there, I've done that, I know what it does, and I don't recommend it. So if I had a lot of experiences, negative experiences that I wouldn't want to experience. And, the whole point of alcohol in the first place is to lower your inhibitions. And trust me, you don't want your inhibitions lowered. You want your inhibitions exactly as high as they need to be to keep you safe, especially along a Kundalini and a spiritual awakening. As we're quitting alcohol, well, what are we going to drink now? We're going to drink a lot of water to help the Kundalini clear out. Water helps that electrical flow push out those and detoxify our system at a faster rate. So in your water, I highly recommend lemons to help detoxify and help your poor liver that is going to be put under a lot of strain and stress as you are going through this detoxification, energetically, spiritually, physically, in all ways. Give yourself some lemons to help clear and purify your system. As well as use herbal teas as basically that's all I drink. That's all I consume now is loads of herbal teas. And there's herbal tea concoctions out there for every type of phase on your spiritual awakening. I personally find all the calming teas to be very beneficial. I use a lot of chamomile tea. I use a lot of sleepy time teas because your sleep schedule gets all kinds of whack. I use a lot of anything relaxing. So herbal teas along this process, and those becomes your drinks of choice if you find the taste of water not so pleasant. And as I said, get yourself a water filtration system that cleans the water to the best that you can. We are mostly water, and we need to keep our waters aflow in a good way to prevent stagnant energy. Which also brings me to the next liquid that I'm suggesting that you consider quitting, which is to quit caffeine. And caffeine keeps you, and there's a point later on that I'm going to talk to, but caffeine keeps you in your masculine energy of do. And it's a synthetic stimulant. So we want to get rid of any stimulation. Extra stimulation is the last thing you want to give Kundalini. Kundalini is stimulated enough. The more caffeine you drink, the more jittery, the more anxiety, the more frustrations might start to present for you, and the more sleep disturbances, as I just mentioned. So clear your system of caffeine. It might take 3 days of terrible headaches to withdraw from caffeine. And then once you get used to not drinking caffeine, it'll take you a little bit of time to get used to what it feels like to be normal again, because our society is set up around, like, there's not a guru on every corner, but by gosh, there's a caffeine shop on every corner. There's, Starbucks or Timmy's or whatever it is in your country. Everywhere you turn, there's somewhere to get additional stimulation to push you just a little bit further. And as long as you're in push energy, it's going to exacerbate the symptoms of your Kundalini. And you don't want that. We want to calm the Kundalini and flow with the Kundalini as much as we possibly can, easing ourselves through what it can be an exceptionally tumultuous process. Number 11, which goes with the quitting of the caffeine, is learn to rest. Rest is not part of our society. It's not part of our culture. We work 60 hours a week, accomplish this, accomplish that, succeed, and then come home and take care of the house and take care of the kids and do this and do that. And what, if you were like me, you will find is you will owe a debt of rest. And what will happen is Spirit will say, right, you owe me 1,967 hours of rest, and now you're going to deliver, and you're going to fight it, and you're going to resist it, and you're going to say, I don't want to, I need to do this. And then so what will happen is you will get sick. Something will come along and it will make you rest, whether you like it or not, because the lesson is that you're not in charge of this. Kundalini is. And if Kundalini needs you to lie down and rest, that will be made to happen for you. It may not feel like it's for you, but it is for you, because learning to rest is a huge proponent. There is so much happening to you inside on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a mental level, on a spiritual level. You are incredibly busy while you are resting. So let go of the shame or the guilt that's associated with not accomplishing as much as you think that you need to be accomplishing, and learn to rest. While you're learning to rest, you can also learn how to meditate. If meditate hasn't been a process in your life, it should be now. Start with 10 minutes a day. Just set a timer and do box breath, or do basic breathing, or focus on a candle, or look at a tree leaf. It doesn't really matter what style of meditation you do, as long as you are meditating. As I said, start with 10 minutes, and then the next day do 11 minutes, and then the next day do 12 minutes. I've done lots of videos on meditation. There's a million videos on meditation out there. There's guided meditations to get you started if you need. But learning to just sit and be with yourself is going to be something that becomes more and more and more and more. So the sooner that you learn to be in meditation and just be with yourself, preferably in silence, but as I said, there are guided meditations that you can start with that are kind of beginner level, and work your way up to a more advanced level by being in a greater length of time. Try different positions. Try what it is to meditate lying down. Try what it is to meditate sitting up. Try what it is to meditate moving. Try what it is to meditate and just let your body do what it wants. Check in with your body. There's lots of different forms of meditation. Just do one a day, every day. It should be as important to you as brushing your teeth or anything else that you do every single day. Another basically type of meditation, but there's more to it than that, is Yin Yoga. Yin Yoga has been massively powerful in my awakening. There's other yoga styles out there. I do not recommend. I don't recommend it, especially if you are my age or if you were in my physical condition. I was vastly obese and terribly out of shape, and I have gone to yoga classes in the past and injured myself. So please don't injure yourself. Please do restorative, relaxing yoga, which is Yin Yoga. It's all on the ground. It's letting gravity do the majority of work for you. It's long holds that is going to help bring your body into realignment, because as the Kundalini pushes out all of the stuff that's lodged within, all the memory that is lodged within, as I've explained before, it's like zip files that have gone and through the Kundalini, those zip files expand, and that can come out as physical pains, aches, disruptions, symptoms. And doing the Yin Yoga is going to help stretch out the musculature and the fascia to help release what Kundalini is trying to push out. So you're working with Kundalini, not against Kundalini. And it's not difficult, even if you start with a basic wall yoga program. And I believe I have a Yin Yoga playlist with Yoga with Cassandra, who I highly recommend, who has lots of different yogas to deal with any particular body area that's experiencing issues, as well as she has yoga for each of the chakras. So, Yin Yoga. I mentioned you physical pain, that when you are pushing out the energies that are no longer in alignment with your higher vibration, those denser energies need to be pushed out. You may be like me and experience a lot of physical pain. And I mean a lot of physical pain throughout my entire body. I'm still experiencing extreme pain in my tooth, in one nerve here. Lost 2 teeth because of it. And listen, you might find yourself going to any number of doctors and specialists and looking for this and that. Listen, I'm having this ache, I'm having this pain, and there's no known cause. All the tests come back clean. Everything looks fine on the scans. And they're like, I don't know. And you're like, well, I'm having this pain. So one of the things that has been huge in helping me shift out of a lot of this pain is using trigger point release. Now, I have many videos on trigger point release in the body playlist, but basics, it's utilizing hard balls. So I have a soft ball. I also have trigger point balls that are about the size of a lacrosse ball wrapped in silicone. And I used a foam roller at one point as well. And that requires you, depending on where it is, because I have a lot of low back pain and pain around the hips, because that's where we store a lot of our trauma. So as I'm just, lying, resting, or doing something on the computer, I will have a softball underneath a glute and be sitting on that. And each trigger, which is like a little knot, a muscle knot, to release that trigger requires sitting on it at minimum 30 seconds, if not 2 minutes or more. Sometimes I'm on it for about 5 minutes before I roll it to another location. And I can't even tell you how many hours I have spent in the last 3 years doing trigger point release every single day. And without it, I don't know what state I would be in. But I have greater degree of mobility than I've ever had in my entire life. And I have less pain than I've ever had in the last 30 years anyways. Even my back is 95% healed at this stage. There was a time about 5 years ago, I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without assistance. I had to go very slow. Sitting for any length of time was exceptionally difficult, which was hard for me as a Reiki master, because working on clients, whether I was sitting or, had hands on top of them, by the end of 3 sessions in a row, my back was a mangled mess. Another release for pain relief is hydrotherapy. I am very blessed to have a hot tub. If you don't have a hot tub, you can get jets for your bathtub, or you can go to your local gym and sit in a sauna, because this is a way to get in and again massage profound deeply into the muscles and to the fascia using heat as a means to help all the musculature and everything else in your body begin to release. So I highly recommend hydrotherapy as something that you can be doing for pain relief. Sticking with water, I'm going to also recommend cold showers. If you have access to a cold plunge, even better. I don't. It's on my wish list one day, is to have a cold plunge, because as the Kundalini is moving through you and you will begin to experience the release of trauma, what happens is you go through very difficult process for your nervous system. Your nervous system is like just being constantly fried with more experiences as they're moving their way out. And cold water showers has been my savior for the last year, because the last year has been insanely difficult as I dealt with traumas in not only my past, but traumas in discovering truths that broke my brain. I had basically a nervous breakdown last year after I was informed of the degree of abuse that I had been in. I had received a full confession, and I can't share full details. I have in one video out there, but it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And trying to regulate my nervous system into feeling safe again, into like that calm, sympathetic state that it needs to be in, the parasympathetic state that it needs to be in to feel safe, to feel calm, to feel relaxed, the rest digest state. Cold showers has helped me dramatically in regulating the nervous system. Sweating has something that I've used a lot, because as we are going through this process, as I said, we're clearing out anything that is no longer in alignment with us, which includes all the toxins that we've accumulated throughout our lives. And listen, we've lived toxic lives. Our lives are toxic. There's toxic situations going on constantly all around us at all times. So sweating it out, use infrared therapy or sauna if you have access to a sauna, or a steam room if you have access to a steam room, or anything like that. I had actually invested in one of those infrared sleeping bags that you could get into and help my body detoxify. And I was doing that monthly for daily for a period of time to help sweat out. And you will sweat. Whether you have a sauna or not, you will go through phases of sweating, especially if number 18 comes into play, which is cannabis. I used to be a cannabis smoker, and I used it for pain relief, and I used it because, hey, it's legal and it's socially acceptable now, and it will help with my social anxiety, and there was a lot of good reasons for me to use cannabis. But there came a point in my own spiritual awakening where it became vastly clear that this was not helping, and it was exacerbating the paranoia and the confusion and and again, when I mentioned alcohol, when you open your door, okay, when you open yourself on a spiritual level Don't be surprised when energies and entities and things that you don't want to come and influence you So I quit cannabis cold turkey. And after that, I went through a profound amount of sweating because the body needed to clear out and detoxify. So I very much have said, and I will say again, I do not agree with the use of cannabis on a Kundalini awakening, nor do I agree with the use of sacred medicines on a Kundalini. I went down that route again. These are my lessons. Don't do the same mistakes I did. Don't learn the hard way. I participated in sacred ceremonies, and it opened my channels way too fast. It opened me way too fast. I had never dealt with earthbound spirits before, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I thought I was being like attacked. So I don't recommend at all any form of drug usage. I do not recommend even microdosing, of which I also tried, and I don't subscribe to the use. Maybe there was a time and a place, and again, there's no judgment involved in this. Maybe there was a time and a place when spiritual awakenings used to be like a slower process. And people wanted to test themselves through the use of psychedelics and things like that. But once you're on a Kundalini awakening, that's a whole different thing. That's awakening on speed to begin with. So if you're already awakening and that's jacked up to the nth degree, you don't want to do something that's going to exacerbate your symptoms even more. And make the situation even worse, because Kundalini itself will do what it needs to do. It doesn't need any assistance from you. The more you get out of Kundalini's way and let Kundalini do its own thing and stop trying to micromanage Kundalini and surrender to Kundalini and let the energy do what it needs to do, because it knows better than you do. Your mind is saying, oh, well, maybe if I try this, it'll help. And maybe if I try that, it'll help. And maybe this will speed that up. I sought Cambo because I thought it would speed up my anxiety and help me with my PTSD symptoms. No, made that much worse. I had, the last year and a half has been absolute insanity. So no, I do not subscribe or recommend the usage of anything that's going to elevate your consciousness faster than Kundalini wants to elevate your consciousness. Number 19 is cry. Again, we need to release, accept the fact that you're going to start to cry. This might be harder for some. It was certainly harder for me, but then I kind of got used to it. It's kind of like I looked at it like urinating. I got to urinate every day to let the waters go. I'm going to have to cry every day to let the waters go. So crying is just part of my life. I don't think there's been very many days in the last 3 years that I haven't cried. It's just part of the go. It's just part of the release. The stuff needs to release somehow. Well, how's it going to get out of you? It doesn't just mythically just disappear into thin air. It has to come from the spiritual into the physical and then be released again out the physical, sweat or crying. Now, for men out there, listen, I feel for you guys, because you've been indoctrinated your whole life. Boys don't cry and boys shouldn't cry and you're not a real man if you cry. Well, I think that whole poppycock is going to be pulled up for review when men go through their spiritual awakenings, because they are going to have to learn to cry, to get it out, cry. You are not, the longer we associate bodily functions with some degree of shaming involved in that, the longer it's going to take to process through. And you don't want to delay it either. So just because I was saying you don't want to exacerbate it, you also don't want to delay it and go, I'm not going to cry. I'm a man. Nah, cry. cry and cry and cry some more, and you know, redefine what it is to be a man. Let's let go of toxic masculinity and step into divine masculinity, where men are allowed to have bodily functions. Would you say to yourself you're not allowed to pee? Nah, of course not. So this is a bodily function no different than any other. Whether you're a man, woman, or resonate with feminine energy or more masculine energy, it doesn't matter. You are human, therefore you need to cry. You need to release the tears. Free the tear, free the tear. While we're feeling things, we're going to have to feel the fears. All those fears, and each chakra has a fear. And I did a video a while back in the chakra playlist called The Fears Associated with Each Chakra. And all of these fears are not in alignment with soul, and they're going to have to be felt to be dealt with. Feel it to heal it. And so as we are feeling these fears, each one is going to come up in its own way, in its own flavor, and feeling the fears and doing it anyways, you know, processing through. If spirit is saying, hey, it's time you sit in front of a camera and do a video, and you're like, well, if I can do it, you can do it. If spirit is saying to you, it's time to walk away from a relationship that's no longer in alignment with you, and you're like, how am I going to do that? Well, just do it anyways. All you can do when it comes to fear is do 1 minute at a time, 1 day at a time, one action step at a time, and just do it. It doesn't matter if you're doing it well, or if you're doing it, you know, beautifully, or if you're doing it like an expert. It just matters that you're doing it. So just feel the fear and push through the fear and do it anyways. Each of these fears is coming up as a challenger that you're going to need to face to get you out of your comfort zone. And your comfort zone was the old version of you, and an awakening is bringing you into the new version of you. And so to get to that new place means fighting all of the fearful energies that exist within you. As you're feeling the fears and, you know, you push through, and then you're like, oh my God, I did that. That was the most terrifying thing I've ever had to do in my life. And listen, I feel it. You know, the day I had to call the police was one of the scariest days in my entire life. It's not something that I wanted to do. I had a fear of authority. I had a fear of getting in trouble. I had a fear of like this. I was on the floor shaking. So what I needed to do was number 21, which is self-soothe. We have to learn to self-soothe. If you were not if you've used all those the alcohol and the drugs that I've already mentioned as a way to soothe yourself, now we need to learn to soothe ourselves naturally in healthy energy. And, you know, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. So learning healthy coping mechanisms and healthy ways to soothe yourself. I have a meditation that I did, which is like just like a guided affirmations of you are okay, to help you soothe yourself through difficult feelings, difficult emotions. If you want access to that particular video, reach out. Otherwise, I think it's probably in the Practices with B. I have a couple of affirmations to help soothe you through that process, so that when you're feeling fears or feeling emotions, that you are reminding yourself that it's okay to feel. Every human feels, and this too shall pass. In self-soothing, one of the micro tools that I used often is in allowing. I would set a timer for 25 minutes, and for the next 25 minutes, I'm just going to allow this emotion to come and tell myself that it's okay. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So self-soothe. With self-soothing, point number 22 is to learn to reparent, which is doing all your inner child work. As your inner children are being poked and prodded and being like brought to the surface, all those traumas, all those wounds, we need to learn to give ourselves, along with the self-soothing, all of the things that we should have received in the first place but never did. So if our parents, you know, we hurt ourselves and we desperately wanted them to come along and pick us up and take care of us, Now we're going to pick ourselves up and take care of us. Now we're going to validate ourselves. Now we're going to say all of those things that we wish somebody had said to us, to our inner child. So it begins a constant process of an internal dialogue, reminding yourself that everything is okay and that you are lovable and that you are worthy, and all of the things that you needed to hear then that you never did but should have. And you are going to reparent. In the process of reparenting, you are also reprogramming. So point 23 is reprogramming through the use of affirmations. There are multiple affirmation programs out there. For reparenting, I really believe strongly in using affirmations that are you are, because that inner child is hearing things from a perspective of you. It's like a parent talking to your inner child. You are safe. You are beautiful. You are kind. You are okay. From reprogramming the mental point of view, you might want to get into the I am affirmations, which is I am beautiful. I am strong. I am a survivor. I am a warrior. So it depends which aspect is coming up and needing attention at that present moment. Is it reparenting or is it reprogramming? Is it a you are or is it an I am? Think about those, and you can write affirmations down, put them all over your walls. You can make voice recordings and listen to them as you sleep at night. Whatever you need to do to keep reassuring yourself through the process, because everything else is kind of crumbling and collapsing around you. And to hear those types of things is what's going to shift your energy into a new consciousness, a new way of being. So that brings me to point 24, which is to quiet negative self-talk. If you have learned the program to beat yourself up continually and live in an energy of self-loathing, that's not going to benefit you. Any self-shaming, self-blaming, self-criticizing, self-judgment has to go. And it needs to be replaced with something kinder, softer, and more loving. The negative self-talk is definitely a lower frequency energy that's going to keep you tethered to the old instead of helping you move into the new, which is a newer, healthier version of you. And that's healthier physically, healthier emotionally, and healthier mentally, and healthier spiritually. On all levels, there needs to be no negative self-talk. So if you are shoulding yourself, I should do this, I shouldn't do that, you are this, you are that, in a negative way, or in any name calling, all of those things need to be let go of and quit and replaced with soothing, reparenting, and reprogramming through the use of affirmations. Number 25, quit sugar. Sugar is one of the worst addictions, and talk about negative self-soothing, using food and carbohydrate particularly. So with sugar gets kind of tied into high carbs, because when we didn't receive the soothing as a child, we learned to shove pizza in our mouth, or cake in our mouth, or candies in our mouth. What are we doing? We're soothing, we're soothing, we're soothing. We're satisfying ourselves. Our life isn't sweet enough. Our life is shitty. So I'm going to make my life sweeter by giving myself sugar. Even though sugar is making me fat, it's making me inflamed, it's making me, it's the worst addiction out there because it's the most socially acceptable addiction. And it is also the most addictive substance. It affects the same area of your brain that cocaine does. And because it's A-OK everywhere, and it's in packages everywhere on every single shelf in brightly colored packages, constantly taunting you, and nobody's gonna say you're a bad person if you eat a chocolate bar. So there's no shame involved, except there is shame. There's the internal shame of knowing that you shouldn't be eating that because it doesn't serve you in any way, shape, or form. And Kundalini is not going to like the sugar. It is going to intensify your experiences while you're having a spiritual awakening. So the sooner that you can eliminate sugar out of your diet and go low carb, download yourself a low GI or glycemic index, glycemic being sugar, how the sugars affect your body. So all those high carbs that you're eating. and move yourself into a low carb diet, not only will you lose the weight, you will also lose the inflammation. And once you lose the inflammation, you will also lose all of the diseases like fibromyalgia, like diabetes, which I both cured by not eating sugar and going low glycemic diet. So if you have any health conditions whatsoever, the sugar has got to go. And I've done lots of videos. There's a food playlist that you can check out if sugar happens to be one of the ways that you cope. With sugar, also, we're going to quit smoking. Smoking is also a self-soothing energy. It's like swaddling up the heart chakra in an energy that is synthetic. And when I say synthetic, it's an actual, I mean, it's not energetically pure. And it's a way to say, it's okay, everything's going to be okay. Oh, I had a stressful day at work. We're constantly putting things in our mouths, and that's we are going through a process of a spiritual maturation. Babies put things in their mouths. Toddlers put things in our mouths. And we put things in our mouths. We suck on our bottles. We suck on our soothers. Well, we don't need that as adults because we're becoming self-soothing, functional adults that are spiritually mature, and we no longer need to have these infantile methods to provide us with the soothing, because we now know we can actually use words and we can use actions that say, it's okay. It's okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. So soothe yourself, soothe the inner child like you would a child. You wouldn't hand a child a cigarette, so don't hand yourself one. I know that smoking is particularly hard to get rid of. I personally loved smoking. I was a smoker from the time I was like 14 or 15, and I was committed. To smoking. So I understand, and when I say smoking, I mean vaping as well. One is no different than the other. It's still putting something in your mouth. And, maybe a pacifier would actually be healthier. And I don't mean that in judgment, again, because I was there. I know all of the ways of what not to do and all of the ways that I was forced to let go of on this awakening, so that my awakening itself could bring me into greater degree of health and wellness. Number 27 is using solfeggio frequencies. So we talk about the frequency. We talk about our energetic frequencies a lot in spiritual communities. So using solfeggio frequencies is one way to soothe. It's one way to help elevate our energy up out of lower energies and bring us back up into some higher energies, which is not to say that I am suggesting that any lower energies are in any way, shape, or form bad or not. They're not always pleasant to be in, but as we are learning to feel our feelings, we're accepting all feelings in all varieties, but sometimes while we're in those energies, accepting those energies, it's relaxing, and instead of having the cigarette or instead of having the drink, to put onto some soothing music, no different than we would have put on lullabies or something like that for our child. So to put on some frequency music that is just, it feels like being in a little bit of a spa with something relaxing and soothing playing. So energetically, your body is communicating with the energetics of the music, and it's feeling uplifting. It is an uplifting tool, a very neat tip to use. Mantra. Mantra is very similar to affirmation, but slightly different because you can use mantra in multiple ways. I firmly have enjoyed using Sanskrit mantras along this process whilst meditating to get me into a more Zen-like energy. I use on Spotify, there is a band named Meditative Mind. They do all kinds of mantras that will help bring you into a much more Zen energy, a peaceful energy when you're going through some of the darker stuff. I used to play mantra all through the night to soothe me. There's also us creating our own mantra. Sometimes listening to a Sanskrit mantra or a mantra of another language doesn't have any meaning for us. Even Om, like what does that even mean for us? So using one solitary phrase throughout the day, or even a solitary word that you can be your running mantra, can help you shut down the chitter chatter of the mind that is lying to you and telling you all kinds of nonsense. You are failing, you are screwing up. I am safe. I am safe. My mantra as of late has been, I am here now. I am safe in the here and now. I am here now. I keep repeating that one to bring me back into presence. Anytime my mind goes 3 weeks to 2 months to 2 years in advance into the land of worry again, and doomsdaying and catastrophizing, or when I start I can't say the word right now. When I start replaying situations that I'm like, oh no, why did it have to be like that? I am safe here now. I am here now. I am not then. I am here now. I am here now. So yes, mantra is a very useful tool. 29, quit TV and movies for a while, especially the news. You know, what is it that you're putting into the system? Are you putting in more fear on a Kundalini? No fear. Don't be putting in ideas into that. I just said your mind goes off into la la land and can catastrophize any number of things. If you're catastrophizing the end of the world and thinking you need to build a bunker, then turn the news off and stop going down those rabbit holes. You're not helping yourself. If you're watching movies that are horror movies about, psychopaths doing this, that, and the other, you're not helping yourself, because you're implanting seeds into your mind during a highly influential stage. That's why affirmations work so well while you're going through a Kundalini, because your mind is more porous and it's in this state of being able to create new synapses and new pathways, and the neuro systems are going. So don't put shit in there so that you can create more fear, more panic, more insecurity. Turn off the news. Stop watching politics. It doesn't affect you personally in this present moment, here and now. Unless you are being asked to go vote today, there is really nothing else that you can do about it. So worrying about it and panicking about it and fretting and this, that, and the other about all the things that are going on wrong in the world outside of you is the polar opposite of thing that you should be doing to help soothe your own energy. If you calm yourself, each individual that calms themselves, the world outside will begin to become a calmer, safer place. And so that is the mission. We change the world by being the change, where it started from. Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see. If you want the world to be safer, calmer, kinder, nicer, whatever you want to see, be it. Be it. Practice it at home in your own energies, and just be that energy. Detach yourself from any types of things that are going to exacerbate any type of energies and feelings into areas you just don't want to go. Just don't want to go. You just take a break. Doesn't mean that you'll never watch another movie again, or never watch another television show, or never go down another rabbit hole again. Just be picky and choosy with what you choose to consume, because it's toxic whether you eat it or whether it's through your eyes or whether it's through your ears. Make sure that you're putting in functional information that's going to better for your betterment, as opposed to making things worse off. Number 30, since we've got all this free time now to, since we're not watching movies and distracting ourselves and whatnot, what are you going to fill your time with? We're going to educate ourselves. On a spiritual awakening, the quest and the thirst for spiritual knowledge will become insatiable. You're wanting to know about the chakra system? I have a chakra playlist. You're wanting to know about how to navigate through Dark Night of the Soul? I have a Dark Night of the Soul playlist. You're wanting to know about this, that, or the other? I have recommended list of books that you should read. Go listen to those books or read those books, or go find Christina Lopes and watch her videos. They're fantastic. Or go listen to some astrology and see what's happening in the world like that. Open yourself up to new ways of thinking and new ways of being and new information that you never have allowed yourself to go down before. And just as long as it's providing you with positivity and providing you with knowledge and providing you with things that are going to help uplift you, then do it. Absolutely do it. Number 31, quit wheat. So I already talked about going low carb. So if you've gone really low carb, you might have quit wheat already. If you haven't, quit it. Wheat is not what wheat used to be 50 years ago. It is so genetically modified and so overly sprayed with chemicals that most people who think that they're, having a reaction because they're gluten intolerant, it may not be the gluten at all. It might just be the wheat. And if you are neurodivergent like myself, wheat will exacerbate, all of these things will exacerbate your anxiety, your social anxiety, and all of those types of symptoms. And those are already going to be exacerbated because of the Kundalini. So don't exacerbate it further, and look to eating, in my opinion, just go off all flour. Just, it's a high carb. You don't need it. You can get seed crackers or things like that. Make zucchini noodles instead of your wheat pasta noodles. There's alternatives on the market for everything now. It's really quite amazing. With quitting wheat, consider quitting dairy. When I quit wheat and dairy, what happened to my body was astronomical. It was astronomical. I went through massive amounts of candida die-off, and I have done videos on candida before. And if your gut is not in good health, then your mind is not in good health. And so for all of those of us, again, who are neurodivergent, it is highly recommended to give up wheat, dairy, food colorings. That's not even on my list, but that I would have thought at this stage you should know to stay well away from those. There's a lot of the dirty foods out there that shouldn't be consumed, preservatives and all kinds of other stuff. If it's not natural, you shouldn't be eating it. So you're probably wondering at this stage, what do I eat? And I think that's on my list a little bit further, but I eat a lot of protein, and I eat a lot of natural live foods like fruits and vegetables. And I'm healthier than I've ever been in my entire life. If you don't know my backstory and you don't know of all the conditions that I once had, which was a laundry list of complaints, listen, I cured my mind of memory loss. I cured my body of diabetes. I lost over 130 pounds. I've cured myself of so many things, and you can too, if you do the research and eat the foods that are going to be functional, as opposed to the foods that are going to necessarily taste good and feel good. Food, the more you consider your body to be like a Lamborghini, and you wouldn't feed your Lamborghini chip truck grease, an old jalopy, you might be like, look, I'm getting free oil from this chip truck and it's making my car run. No, you're a Ferrari. Be a Ferrari and feed yourself the best of the best. When you feed yourself the best of the best, you don't need to buy as much, as well as the fact as what you do is so nutritionally dense that it makes you run better. On the topic of quitting, we got a good few quittings happening here now. We're going to, and this, I am not a medical doctor at all. And so don't take my advice unless you want to check with your medical doctor. But I was guided on my spiritual awakening to quit pharmaceuticals. I quit metformin when I cured my diabetes because I didn't need it anymore. I quit the gabapentin that they gave me for this nerve pain because I read up on it and I was like, hell no, this stuff turns my brain into mush. I'm not having mush brain drugs, and I quit the antidepressants that I had been on for years because they had numbed me to the point where I didn't even identify that depression is a normal response to being abused. So before you question whether or not, you have some disorder, maybe you want to ask yourself this question. What is my environment like, and what traumas have I experienced in my life? Because at no point in time in 30 years of going to doctors and going to counseling did I ever get asked the question, are you being abused? Or are you, is your environment a stressful environment, or have you experienced a lot of traumas in your past? I went into doctors telling them, counselors, I've done cognitive behavioral therapy, I've done DBT, I've done somatic counseling, I've done years and years and years and years of counseling. And at no point, because trauma counseling is still a relatively new psychology, that a lot of training hasn't even been provided to people if they've been in the practice for over 20 years. It's still so new. That nobody was tying together the fact that I was adopted, I was abused, I had been sexually assaulted, I had experienced narcissistic abuse. What. So of course I'm depressed. When I got myself into a safer environment and got myself out of those dysfunctional relationships, I no longer needed the antidepressants. Although learning to feel again without them has been a very difficult process. And, but be warned, if you do make your own independent decision with, your own medical advice, go, whatever they say to go off your anti-meds, go slower. If they say, wean down in 6 weeks, take 6 months is my recommendation, because the withdrawal that you experience, it takes years to get out of your system. It takes years. I'll also quit number 34, quit aluminum deodorant. So aluminum is got known to have issues with Alzheimer's and brain disorders, because it's a heavy metal that swims around your body and lands itself in your brain. And I was suffering from severe memory loss to the point where I couldn't remember the word table. It was very scary, and so I quit aluminum deodorant. I don't wear any deodorant, but there are lots of deodorants out there on the market. I use a little bit of apple cider vinegar if I have a little bit of odor, which I rarely do at all. I barely smell at all, because I've detoxified my body so much that it just doesn't produce odor. So be very careful about heavy metals in your body. If you're concerned about heavy metals in your body, or candida, which I already mentioned, go to a naturopath and ask for live blood cell testing. I've done a video on that. That was one of the most useful tests that I've had along this process, that helped identify the markers of things challenges that I was facing in healing my body. Heavy metals was one, as well as candida and fungal overgrowth in my body was another one, because candida, once you have leaky gut and it spreads into the bloodstream, it can go throughout your whole body. And if you're having any symptoms, athlete's foot, dandruff, thrush, sinus issues. I used to have incredibly bad sinus issues. My sinuses are completely clear now, which is a wonderful thing. Number 35, quit toxic people. That was my hardest challenge, without question, escaping from narcissistic abuse. I have a playlist on that, as well as, recovering from trauma. This has been huge in my own journey, and I'm not going to go into the extent of it, but I am now fully of the belief that being in a toxic environment with a narcissistic person is deadly. It can cause you to have physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, mental symptoms. You want to talk disorders, you get to the root cause of it and look around the rooms that you're sitting in, with whom you're sitting and with whom you're listening to. Because once you start identifying those sources of toxicity and you clear them out of your life, and it's not easy. It was the hardest thing in the entire world to lose family, friends that I thought was family, my most important people that I trusted more than I trusted myself, unfortunately, I lost. And when I lost, I started getting healthier and healthier and healthier. So toxic people is huge. And I think of it as one of the massive initiations that anyone who is an empath needs to go through. And I've done a video on that as well. So be very forewarned that, I can tolerate this toxicity. For how long? For how long until you get sick? For how long until you start to have as many symptoms as I was having? Quit beauty products. On the topic of toxicity, beauty products and household cleaners are full of a lot of toxic chemicals and stuff that I didn't want to put on my body. And as well as that, in learning to love the fuck out of myself, I wanted to be able to look in the mirror and love me for me, which is the first time in my life that I can say that I can do that. I look at my face and I'm like, hey, not so bad. Once you peel off the masks and peel off the layers and peel off all the products that you think that you need so that you think that you look better and you just love yourself. Listen, I got wrinkles. Of course I have wrinkles. My wrinkles are from me going like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? I am not perfect. I have gray hairs in here. I call them God's highlights. But you know what? I'm getting younger looking than I was years ago. I certainly didn't look in any way great when I was at my fattest and my most stressed out. Do I think I'm glowing up? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I am. And I'm loving watching myself in the mirror change on a day-to-day basis. And I would love nothing more than to spread to the world, especially for all the women out there, that you're beautiful. Oh my God. When you stop wearing makeup and you start seeing people just naturally all the time, and then you see somebody who's fully in makeup, you're like, oh, that's a shame. I bet you they're really pretty underneath that. Because we start to alter our perception of what is beautiful when we start to see ourselves as beautiful. And then we look around the world and we're like, oh, look at that beautiful imperfected person and that beautiful imperfect person, I don't care if you have mottled skin or weird hair or, under eye bags because you haven't slept, or wrinkles or thin lips, if you are you and you are glowing from a place of authenticity and being in yourself, that is beautiful. That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And so, yes, I also mentioned household cleaners as well. Be very careful of what you're burning, artificial scents and artificial sprays and artificial this or that. So what are you going to clean your house with? Number 37 is start buying vinegar in bulk. Vinegar cleans everything, including you. And so I make my own homemade solutions, mix with some Dawn soap and some vinegar and some water, and that stuff will clean everything. You can add some tea tree oil into it, or peppermint oil or whatever, to add another little boost of antiviral, antibacterial, other things, as well as it smells nice. Number 38, I have also added coconut oil into my life. I eat it. I put it on my body. Coconut oil has so many uses. You want to kill that candida that you just discovered that you have, you need to start consuming coconut oil routinely. One way that I do that is I mix it with my adaptogen mushroom coffee or cacao that I drink, which intensifies your adaptogens. And so it's helping the neurosynapses happen. It's helping the calming. It's helping. As well as that oil is helping my digestive tract and digestive system. So I buy coconut oil in those big, huge containers, and then that's my cream if my skin's feeling dry. That's my cuticle. That's why I don't have makeup, but when I did have makeup, it was my eye makeup remover. Having a little bit of dry hair, need an oil treatment on the hair. Coconut oil I use for everything. It's the best oil out there. If you don't like coconut oil, olive oil is your second great oil. Castor oils. There's so many good oils that you can be utilizing that are natural and so good, especially if you have things like arthritis, like olive oil mixed with castor oil on your hands for arthritis, penetrates deep in, sesame oil is another good one to help with sore muscles or things like that. So yes, reevaluate what it is that you put on your body and what you put in your body. 39, we're going to get into more of an emotional realm and move into the world of triggers. Everybody is trigger warning these days. Trigger warning this, trigger warning that. No, I don't want my triggers. Your triggers are the best things that could happen to you. When you start looking at your triggers as if they're gifts and opportunities to heal, it's like the doorbell ringing, ding dong. Time for some shadow work. Time for some inner child work. What is coming up for me in this moment? I'm feeling agitated. I'm feeling irritated. I'm feeling frustrated. Good. Why? That motion is trapped in your body somewhere and needs to come out and be expressed. So thank you, and thank you to everybody that triggers the fuck out of me. I greatly appreciate it because it gave me a lot of time to sit in that energy and figure out what it was that was pissing me off or what it was that didn't feel right, so that I could learn to love myself even more and understand myself and gain a greater degree of self-awareness, as well as heal it. Heal it. Feel it to heal it. And how do we feel it? We get triggered. Triggered. Yes, love those triggers. Number 440, as a fun thing you might want to consider buying, is getting yourself a hammock. I absolutely adore my hammock. I sit in my hammock. I meditate in my hammock. I move in my hammock. Why? Because I am no longer soothing myself with food. I'm no longer soothing myself with cigarettes. I'm no longer soothing myself in any way that is unhealthy. Instead, I am treating my inner child as I would a little baby wrapped and swaddled and in a nice rocking environment. So you want to do some inner child work. I'm telling you, I had this guy outside when the weather was nice, and I moved it inside for the weather now. I have a heating pad in here. I have blankets in here. I have a pillow in here. Sometimes I have my trigger ball in here. Sometimes I have my cat in here, which I absolutely love. So yes, how do I soothe? How do I get yourself a hammock? It has been hugely valuable to me on this awakening path. Hugely. Number 41, sit in the sun. People in the spiritual communities talk about getting light codes. Well, the best way to do that is to get into the light. And when I say get into the light, I mean without sunscreen. Nothing toxic on your skin. Let your body feel it. If you're concerned about getting burnt, I'm not asking you to go get toasty and turn into like a piece of leather. Sit in the morning sun, sit in the evening sun, but sit in the sun at some point in the day for whatever feels comfortable for you. Can you handle 10 minutes in sunshine? No? I'm sure you can. I'm sure at 6 o'clock in the morning, the sun is not bright enough for you to burn yourself. So get yourself connected to nature and sun energy so that solar plexus can get its activation. Every single living thing in the world requires sunlight. You do too. So plants, algae, animals, you name it. They need sun. And so do you. Like, think about a nice dog out in the afternoon on a deck, lying down, sunning itself, showing its belly. I've even done and gone as far as to sun the nether regions once I was given that opportunity out at a healing retreat once, because they recommend, hey, do full throttle. And I would do that more, except I live in a neighborhood where every single neighbor would get a very large view, and that would not be good. But if you have opportunity to get in the sun and just let it all be sunned, try it. Why not? See what you like. Report back how you get on with that, and don't stay out long enough that you actually burn anything down there. That hasn't seen the sun. I can remember one time about 30 years ago, I fell asleep on a beach tanning naked, and my buttocks was burnt to a crisp. So yes, not recommending falling asleep in the sun, not recommending tanning in the sun, but I am recommending getting out walking in the sun, or give yourself an opportunity to get some sun codes as often as possible. Number 40. This is going to be the longest video I have ever done. Number 40 is somatic release. As traumas are beginning to surface and come up for release, doing body movements, and there's a lot of videos out there for somatic release. There's two excellent, there's lots on somatic release. There's also Human Garage, and I highly recommend Human Garage. All of their information there is free. They've got a 3-day reset, 7-day reset, 41-day reset. No, I think it's 21. But anyways, Human Garage. Otherwise, just do intuitive movements to release as you would. Lying back and just rocking as a baby would, or stretching your legs out and moving yourself just naturally as however feels intuitively right for you as you're processing through emotions. Highly, highly recommend. Number 43, aromatherapy. I absolutely love aromatherapy and or sage to clear the energy in your space, or incense. Because you want to clear the energies as much as you possibly can. Now, the aromatherapies that I use most are frankincense to help get me into higher energies, grounding scents to get me into a grounded energy, so things like sandalwood or blends for the root chakra, rose energy to get me into divine feminine energy or heart space energy, and then throughout I've used lavender, because lavender can be exceptionally soothing and relaxing. Otherwise, I use sage, white sage, frequently to clear out the negative energies in my house. And I burn incense just because it smells nice. But do be careful with your incense and your aromatherapies that you're getting essential oils or like actual incense. Don't get anything that says scented is not aromatherapy. You have to get things that are actually pure and good for you, not artificial versions of them. An artificial version is going to do nothing except irritate your nasal passages. Crystals. You don't need to have crystals to have a spiritual awakening. I like crystals, and I have found them useful on my spiritual awakening, particularly hematite and tourmaline. I made myself at one stage hematite anklets that felt like wearing ski boots because they were so heavy, because the energy of hematite is a very heavy stone, to help ground me as I was going through spiritual crisis and spiritual emergency. And tourmaline helps clear out negative energies. So those two crystals, as well as actually rose quartz, I've used a lot to help promote a greater degree of self-love and divine love energy for me. So those are just 3 crystals that I have used on my spiritual awakening. Other people might resonate with other ones out there, like selenite or amethyst. I have a lot, but those 3 are the ones that I've used the most. Number 45, balance masculine and feminine energies. in saying that, as I'm on number 45, I'm going to pause this video right now. We're already at an hour and a half, and the masculine in me wants to push forward, and the feminine in me is saying it's time to take a break and calibrate and realign and prepare myself for my oracle read that I was planning to do. And yes, when I come back, I will hop back into more information on what it means to balance masculine and feminine energies. So there will be a part 2 to my top tips of how to survive a Kundalini awakening. With that said, I look forward to hearing your comments on any of these tips today. And thank you very much for the likes, the shares, and subscriptions. I am sending you all my absolute love. Peace out.